to the channel. I am Christina Joe, and in today's video I will be going through my pre-op procedure list of what I had to get approved for in order to be approved for bariatric surgery. Now, I've been going through this process for over a year now, but let me take you back a little bit. I've been trying to get this done since 2018, so now full circle is 2021. I've been going through my pre-op clearance since last year. I've been going back and forth through different insurance companies, and that's why it's been taking me a little bit longer to get the procedure actually done. So I just want to say this is my pre-op list that I had to go through. Other physicians or surgeons in institutions or bariatric centers may require you to do other things, more or less, or nothing at all. I've seen where some people are required to not do anything on this list or do a few things on this list. So definitely check with your institution and what they require for your particular surgery that you will have done. I'm getting the vertical sleeve gastrectomy, which is the VSG as well, short term for it. And I'm just going to run through the list of what I have. I want to look down, so if you see me looking down, I'm just going through the things that I've written down so that I make sure that I go over everything that I had to go through. So the first clearance that I had to go through, and this is in no particular order. I'm just going to say the first one that that popped in when I was making the list was for cardiology. Now, for my cardiology pre-op, the only thing that I had to do is I had to get an EKG or ECG, which is the electrocardiogram. And basically what that does is it records your heart's electrical signals, basically how your heart is beating. So if you ever had an EKG done, and if you're not familiar with what that is or what they may do, you get 4 or 5 leads on your chest, like under your left rib cage, 1 or 2 here. You get 1 on both arms and 1 on both legs, and it records your heartbeats. And if you guys ever heard the term PQRST, that's the actual heart waves, and when the heart beats and it goes lub-dub, it prints that out and it'll show any irregularities in your heartbeat or anything like that. So I had to get that done. I also had to get an echo, and an echo basically will show how the blood is flowing through your heart chambers. So if you have a murmur, a heart murmur is basically like the valve doesn't close fully, and they can be able to hear that and see that with the echocardiogram. So I had to get that done, and I also had to get a chest x-ray as well for cardiology. They all came back free and clear, so I got that checked off the list. The next thing I had to go through, which is the pulmonary, and I had to get a PFT, which is also called the pulmonary function test. And basically what that does is it shows the lung capacity, how much air you can take in, how much air do you push out, the flow of how the air moves in and out of your lungs, the gas exchanges through your lungs, and all of this can be affected by weight. So people who tend to be on the bigger side sometimes have difficulty breathing because of being overweight. Also, I had to get a few radiology clearances, and that's just basically a few imaging studies to see certain areas. So the first one that I had to get done was an ultrasound of the right upper quadrant of the abdomen. Now, the specifics for that one is so they can see certain organs, and a lot of these studies and stuff are done pre and post-op to see how the body is functioning afterwards, because this is a major surgery. So I had to get the ultrasound of the right upper quadrant, and that shows your liver, your right kidneys, your gallbladder, the pancreas, your small and large intestine, which they will look at afterwards just to make sure everything, nothing is going on, or no irregularities before and or after your procedure. Also, another radiology study that I had to get done is I had to get a GI with Scout. So basically what that is you're still like in an x-ray room, and they have you drink Scout. Scout is basically what do they call it? It is hold on, I gotta write it down. The contrast. It's the contrast that you're going to drink. It's like an active procedure. So the doctor will come in and they'll tell you, they'll give you something. It's kind of like a little Alka-Seltzer, and they want you to hold it as long as you can without belching, so they can see different studies and how it reacts within your stomach. Then also another part of the Scout is as you drink it, they can see it actually go down your esophagus, into your stomach, and that shows them any reflux that you may have. It just shows the actual swallowing process to see if there's any issues there. And it was pretty good. It was really thick. it was like a if anybody ever had like Milk Mag, and Milk Mag is like a stool softener type thing, it was that thick consistency. And it was kind of minty. It didn't taste chalky or anything like that. And that procedure took maybe 10, 15 minutes, because they have you do it standing up. Excuse me, and then they also have you do it laying down. So they want you to rotate to your left side and then to your right side, just to see how it shifts in your stomach and what reflux it causes. Because if you lay on your left side, where the I don't know the correct term, but excuse me, but the bulb of their stomach sits, it's a little bit better to sit, because that's where the bigger part of your stomach is. But if you sit on your right, it's not much space there, and that's when people kind of get a little bit of reflux. But so I had to get that done with the scalp. Yeah, I had to get the Oh, and I also had to get another chest x-ray. These were ordered by my pulmonologist. Just another chest x-ray for their side, just to get a chest x-ray of the lungs, heart, and everything else as like the radiology there. And then I had to get a sleep study. And the sleep study was pretty interesting. It's anywhere from 4 to 6 hours of how long you're able to sleep. And what the sleep study does, it shows if you have sleep apnea. It shows how many times you stop breathing in your sleep. It shows for the duration of how long, and it also shows if you have any other type of syndromes, like if you have restless leg syndrome, if you're sleeping and for some reason your legs are very fidgety in your sleep, or your arms are very fidgety in your sleep, or if you're just restless, if you're a restless sleeper and you're tossing and turning and you're not really sure why you're waking up in the morning and you're exhausted because you're not sleeping properly. So I had that done. It showed that I stopped breathing 10 times in my sleep for a total of 12 seconds. And it put that on the more moderate side of sleep apnea, and it didn't require me to go on a CPAP machine, but I personally requested it because I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And they say this type of sleep apnea will go away with the procedure, but I just want to be careful for myself. But there's a lot of them on recall right now, so it's like a 3 to 4 week wait. And but my schedule, because my surgery is scheduled for 12/22/23, and I'm like, well, that's kind of running in close, but they said I will be able to have a machine in the hospital if I need it. And then what else the sleep study does? The sleep study, it just, it shows, if you stop breathing in your sleep, how often and how many seconds you stop breathing. And if it gets to a certain point where it's too excessive, they'll come in and put the CPAP on you to see how that helps you sleep. But for me, that wasn't necessary because I was, like I said, I was more on the moderate side. So it's moderate, mild, and severe. If you're mild or severe, then you would have to go on the CPAP. You have to go on the CPAP during the sleep study, and then after the sleep study, you would have to go on it, and then the doctor would have to get those studies first before you go to surgery, to get the studies over a few weeks to see how those studies come back, so they see if it's safe or not for you to actually go through the procedure, or how they tend to move forward. The last thing that I had to get done was the psych eval. And the psych eval was very, it was like an hour. You just go in and they ask you, okay, well, what did they tell you about this procedure? What do you know? What did they say you would talk about when you get here? And usually I'm like, oh, well, they just want to make sure that you understand the procedure and how your body's going to change and what you're going to look like after the fact. Dealing with body dysmorphia after the surgery, because we're so used to seeing ourselves in a certain way for so long, that's kind of seeing ourselves outside of what we have normally been could be, mentally challenging for some people. That was part of the aspect, but there was other parts of the aspect as well that I was not informed of, which is perfectly fine. They had a packet that they asked you many questions, like one of the questions is, do you find yourself eating and not being able to stop? Or when you wake up in the middle of the night, do you find yourself, snacking? Or do you wake up in the middle of the night to snack? And if so, how often? It also says, are you an emotional eater? Are you a happy, like if you're an emotional eater, or do you tend to eat when you're bored, or do you overeat, or do you sometimes feel like you can't stop eating, when you're eating? And it also says, have you ever stopped going to an event because you won't be able to eat how you normally would? I mean, these are very mentally, what I want to say, they're very deep questions, to really try to understand the person's psyche and how they eat and their eating disorders or not. But it was really, really good. I did get clear for that as well. And once again, my surgery date is for 12/22/21, which is December of this year. And that's all I really had to do, guys. I had to go through 5 different things, so I'm just going to run back through the list really quick. And like I said, it depends on your institution and what they decide is necessary for you to have your procedure done, so definitely check with them. The first one was cardiology approval, pulmonary approval, radiology, sleep study, and a psych evaluation. And that's pretty much it. I am getting my procedure done here in New Jersey at Cooper University. And I really like the hospital. I love the doctors. I've been with Cooper for a long time now. All of my doctors across the board are at Cooper. But yeah, guys, so if you guys have any other questions that you want to know, this is pre-op. I will be documenting my post-op the day of my surgery. My 14, this is also something I have to do. So in order for me to get but a process that I have to go through to get my surgery is I have to do a 2-week liquid diet. 2 weeks of liquids, and they give you an approved list of liquids that you're supposed to drink. You're supposed to drink 5 to 6 liquids a day for 14 days. Yeah, so that'll be interesting. So I have to do that. And then that's pretty much it. So I'll be documenting that, the 14-day liquid diet. I'll be documenting my surgery day, pre-op when I get there, post-op when I come out, and the days afterwards, following out through the rest of my journey. So please be sure to tune in and let me know what you guys want to see, what you guys want to know. If there's any other questions, if anybody's out there that's been through the process and procedure and want to leave any information down below for the community, absolutely do that. Don't forget to follow me on social media, on my Instagram at Christina. Nope, sorry. My Instagram is what is my Instagram? Chrissy VSG, and I am Chrissy VSG on Facebook. So definitely log in, add me, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.